Hey guys, it's Ian from SS8000 Cars, and today we have an unusual setting for you. And we have an S5, except that it's not really an S5. It's actually a TDI 2 litre 190 brake horsepower Audi A5 with S-line sports suspension. Now, why am I brought this to your attention? Because I think the latest A5 is possibly the best looking of all the coupe stroke four-door formats the manufacturers have been bringing out for a number of years. Now, as you know, Audi have the S5, which is really the coupe four-door version of the A4, and BMW have the Gran Turismo version of almost every one of their products. So there's a Gran Turismo version of the 3 Series. There's a Gran Turismo version, has its own unique name of the 6 Series, although I understand that's about to be replaced by the 8 Series. But the point of today's video is not so much about performance, and I know a lot of you have chatted to me about the fact that we're trying to be a performance orientated channel, so bringing you cars that are equally as home on the track as they are on the road. But this obviously is not about that, but I was actually quite taken with the S-line version of the A5 four-door coupe version as well. But I just think it's a seriously good-looking car, and it's also a very practical car. If you pop in for a second now, I freely admit I'm 6 foot, so therefore there's not a huge amount of space above me, but I think, you know, with a little bit of slouching, a 6'2", 6'3" guy would be okay in here. And then you do have the benefits of the coupe-like shape. I really just wanted to bring this to you because this is the car that I've been hiring over the last 3 weeks. Now, diesels we don't specialize in, although I'm going to do some reports on some of the latest diesels where they're perhaps a defining moment for the manufacturer. Now, I have felt for some time that the launch of the Land Rover Velar was a defining moment for Land Rover, because not only have they moved slightly away from the hardcore off-roaders that they produce, because this uses a sort of a Jaguar four-wheel drive system essentially, to a car that is more defined for the road. And I just feel that the Velar is such a good looking car, although dynamically from an off-road perspective it might not be quite so good as a regular Range Rover Sport, or even indeed the Discovery that we tested a few months ago. I think Land Rover is going from strength to strength. Now, it's been helped of course by the move in the marketplace towards SUVs, and Land Rover is probably the best variant on the market for quality SUVs that also perform off-road. So the interior of the Audi, as you can see, is really well put together. However, one of the great features of this car, apart from the steering wheel, which I really do like, is the ability to be able to pull up the sat nav on the screen in front of you, right in front of you. So on the binnacle that's you see through the center point of the steering wheel, and we'll cover that later. But you can see it's a practical car, and you know, it has all the capability of being able to fold down the split seats at the rear, so pretty standard stuff. One on the left hand side of the car and then 2 for the right. Nicely upholstered. The S-line appears to have leather and cloth and sports seats all as standard, so I'm really quite impressed with that. I mean, the performance is very much right up there with, I would say, all the Audi diesels today. It's very relaxed, a little bit clackety when you switch it on, but let it settle down to an idle and you'd be hard pressed to know it was a diesel engine. I suppose the major question has to be, how long will the diesel cars continue being manufactured? Now, we're in the south of France, guys, in case you hadn't guessed. It's quite remote here though. I think this area got affected by a recession in 2009-2010 when house building really came to a complete stop. And literally we're only a kilometre from the sea here, even although you can't actually see it. I would have taken the car further up to give you some good views if it hadn't been for the fact, since we were here last year, they've made that rather difficult. And strong though I like to think I am, I'm not going to move those. Okay, let's get in. Whoa, here we go. To start it, foot on the brake, press the start button. It purrs away. I think it's at this point you can just slightly hear the diesel clatter, but it's, believe me, it's not bad. And then my favourite part is this. I think that's tremendous, and that really does have to be the way to go, doesn't it? You've got two little digital dials on either side of the screen. One is for the speed, which is obviously kilometres, and the other is the rev counter. You can see our proximity to the sea there. So if I scroll out for you, and I'm scrolling in, if I scroll out for you up to a point where we're 1 kilometre away, I suspect we're about a kilometre from the sea. Come back in again. More useful to me. Alright, so push the button and the side down into, I've got it in drive and comfort, but obviously, you know, you have the ability to, by moving this across, that puts it in manual, and that actually puts it in comfort sport. And then if we go around here to car, again where we started really, you can see you can set it up for dynamic. Individual allows you all the options, so you can have comfort, you can have sports setting on the drivetrain, so on the gearbox, and you can have comfort on the suspension settings. Okay, there we go. Quite a nice position this actually. See the sea quite clearly. Now we're in the headland, not far away from Saint Maxime, and the headland on the other side is Saint-Tropez. Well guys, I do hope that gives you a sort of a feel for the Audi A5, and of course those of you that want or are thinking about getting either the S5 or the RS5, I would thoroughly recommend it, because I sort of feel that the basic ingredients for this car are really absolutely spot on. You know, it's really quality. It's really quality. It's quite a steep drive. For those of you who watched me leaving here last year, came down in GT4 again. Loved that car. And actually, as the engine is being run in, it's running more and more smoothly. So we really, it was a quite a more refined ride, I felt, from last year, but that could be my imagination. Well guys, again, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a little bit off the beaten track in terms of where we see this channel, but I thought it was good enough to give you just a feel for the standard A5, and for those of you thinking getting the sports versions, I rather suspect that this could be for you. Alright guys, it's Ian from SS8000 Cars signing off.